The Origins of Life, Waves of Light, Part 6. So, I use this picture in Reflections of Love and Light. When I first started talking about this was supposed to be like teeth and gums, so like now looking at it, it's kind of like we've got so much more of a perspective over it. Now, if we imagine time lapse, how white that could get, you know what I mean? If you follow the wave as well, then it'd be kind of like because it's a wave, that's where the roll is, so it's always there, kind of thing. Um, so why we have white teeth and such. So this also applies to claws and you know, I suppose everything. Let's see, we've got one of those shells, but upside down you can see like the finger kind of marks. So going this way, but so you'd have to be, holding it in that kind of sense. Obviously, it's also upside down, so if you put it the other way, then you can imagine what it is. So you got like that roll of a wave. So we've got it here. So we've got the shell, which is the water, the tunnel of a wave, and all that kind of stuff, like the snails and stuff. So then you got the fingers, or the claws, or the teeth, or whichever, of the wave which are coming out. So you can see how they make that roll and all that kind of stuff. And each tooth is an individual wave in itself. See the hinges. And so we saw in that other snail, the narrate zebra snail, and it's got like the waves on the side, and you could see the hinges of like the insect legs. It's the same pattern on like sea life as well, like crabs and lobsters and all that kind of stuff. So it's closed. It's fulfilling that role of like the wave, so you can see like the teeth patterns of it, or the lines that form within the wave, which is repeated there. You see the beads of water splashing out. And see it's got the spherical shape, and then it's got the neck of water, which is like still connected to the body. Which is something I should have pointed out about the neck, you know what I mean, with the bead of water and stuff like. It depends what you're talking about, because if you're talking about fruits and berries, it's separated and stuff, so. But all the shape and stuff, you can see that roller wave, and you can see how it's coming out of this. A hump of water, another hump of water, and then the roll of a wave, which is making the fingers. You see finger joints. Again, like individual waves, because you move your fingers that way, whereas a wave is always that way. So you've got different directions, haven't you? So that's why it's incorporated different aspects of the ocean, different movements, like forwards and backwards and such, to like create a design which is kind of like usable within a 3D environment. You see spiders, you can see it's got the wave shape. It's got hinges, but it can stretch its leg, you know what I mean? It can like go into different positions. Your wave shape there. Its sting. And some water's poisonous, isn't it? You go to a different country and you drink clean water and you end up not being well, so. There can be impurities in water anyway, so you don't have to be going to a different country and stuff. It's making sure the water's clean and all that kind of stuff. So then you got these are kind of like sideways of that, so like the roll, it's kind of twisted it, but then when you get to the side of it, you can see like the crocodile style mouth. You know, I mean, it can go forwards, but it's got a sidewards motion to it as well. So that sideward motion is like the front of a wave there, and so you can see all its teeth and the body. It waves. And moles. So the teeth of the fingers. So you're connecting like our teeth and gums. You know, I mean, how like your nails are connected to your fingers. Um, you know, all that kind of stuff. And the general shape of it, you know, it's like, you know, out like a wave basically. So now looking at water, how it splashes up. This is more to do with the stringing together before it separates. It's got like a link, so like the neck, you know, and connected to the beads and stuff. It's everywhere. It's quite messy, is that one? It's like there, for example. You can see there's loads of bits connected together and splashing out and. I mean, it reminds me of trees again because you got like this body and then like all the separations and stuff. Like I say, once it gets to its apex, it's zenith and then it starts to fall again. It's like, you know, it will have taken its information from that zenith point. But I'm thinking about fingers with this one. As we mentioned, like claws and all these kind of things, and connecting it to fingers and stuff. So, you know, it splays out. It's gonna like. If you're gonna grab onto something, you know, say like. I don't know, Back to the Future when he's on a skateboard and to grab onto a truck, you know what I mean? To put your hand over back at truck, like, you know, it's that same kind of motion. You know, it's an important motion because sometimes, you know, that's used quite a lot in like survival or emergency kind of situations and stuff. Like, you know, you're falling down a cliffside and you can grab somebody's hand, you know, and it's that action of the hand going over something and then being able to envelop it, you know. So, you know, that's like this hand action we've got. It's different to the claw, you know, similar, but it's slightly different. It's like every movement that you've got, there's like quite a lot of different ways you can use your hand. I think it's 18 hand techniques in Wing Chun. So, like you've got your Tan Sao, you've got your fist, you've got your Bu Sao, you've got your Bong Sao. Like I said, there's 18 of them. So like, there's so many different ways of using them. You know what I mean? Well, for example, you got your Bu Sao that cuts forward. You kind of use this side of your wrist to cut in whatever's coming. So if there's a pole coming towards you, you can cut it, you know what I mean? And then that kind of deflects things. So that pole's actually somebody's arm. So if somebody's arm's coming towards you, you can view it like that way, and then you use your juts out to pull it backwards. So you know what I mean? You've got like an abundance of techniques and movements that, you know, I mean, that's just in Wing Chun, you know? When you look at like everything else that there's like rock climbing or swimming and etc. There's so many ways how we use the body and how we can relate to it with all these kind of expressions that the ocean's doing. So we see the lines as it's splashed up like this. You can see the thickness and density of it. So, like fingers, you know. This is where it develops into teeth or fingers or whatever else. Claws, you know. So when you got these seashells, and the thing which is significant about them, it's got an opposable thumb. Of this twist, yeah. So they all spread out and stuff. That looks like an opposable thumb as well. That could be an opposable thumb. And it's like the tail, isn't it? So you can look at the body, and then like and you got all legs, or it's like a hand. So you can associate like the hand with an entire body in a way. Like the tail would be your wrist, and that would lead to your body. So you got a wave here, and then your body would be another wave. So like waves upon waves is what is formed of a creation and stuff. Like even your face, it's not just one wave, is it? It's kind of like your mouth, your nose, your eyes, your cheeks, your ears. It creates that opposable thumb shape, which is still part of the main wave. Everything's splashing out and then drawing back in. But you can see the fingers. You can see like the bone structure in a sense, how it would figure things out. Just for people, like birds as well. So, because of its claw likeness. Or feet. Depends what kind of creature, and, insects and bed bugs and all those things. And they're like the splashiness as well. See, rather than fingers, use it as part of the design of this creature. Its tail kind of thing. So we see the eagle claws. There's all the power behind it, and then crashing waves. It's like tooth upon tooth upon tooth, isn't it? So bears and I can't remember which one this is actually. It might be a sloth, or I took a few things. I might not have taken the full image of a creature, so I'm not sure what it was. But so when you got cats as well, like I say, all the retractable and stuff. But like you see the wall of a wave, and its knuckles. So it's showing you like the knuckle aspect because we've got knuckles, haven't we? Anteater. It might have been an anteater on previous one. It's like the claws and that kind of sense. And the ears. It's how teeth like they are. How sharp they are, how I mean you don't really look at sloths with kind of like as a threat as such, but I imagine they're quite damaging. And so yeah, you got this tear shape around eye, foot, wall. So like on the fish, you had that pattern, that shape. And then you got all the froth, water kind of pattern. in its claws. So it envelops, you know what I mean? And then it uses its strength. So the strength is more to do with like when the wave's coming over and it digs into the ground. Like the shore, it's sloped, isn't it? Different elevation of slope, angle of slope or whatever, and then when water comes in for a wave, to kind of like for the shore to be like shallow enough for the wave to like dig into it, right? And then once that wave digs into it, it's gonna making a ridge in sand. And that might be where all the ridges come from in the sand. Each wave per, every minute, that day. You know what I mean? Making all those ridges. Well, it kind of helps. It's like gripped the land, so all the water which is in those energy trailing behind it, all the slipstream and stuff, it just helps the rest of the wave go over that even better. You know what I mean? So, so he's got more chance of like getting onto the land or whatever and stuff. Not that I don't think it's trying, but from the information it finds from it, how to learn how to grip, then it's getting it. It's figuring it out. It's like on every limb, which makes it look more significantly like water. They're like finger-like, aren't they? I see like a fish. In its ears. You have a wave coming out. It's have a frothy texture, and all the waves, and all the strength behind the wave, which is also what kind of creates this stability. So like the strength behind it continues up there, doesn't it? Which is pushing down. So it's the same again with strength at wave, leading into the next waves, and then all water which is drawn out and then start to draw back in. Same as fins, which because it's fin, another etymology reference. So we see it here, splashed out, and then it comes back in. And so this is why you got webbed fingers and feet. And so it's splashed out, splashed out, splashed out. It must have a bit of a curve on land. And it swoops back in. You see it same again. It's splashed out, but it's got like a spherical object at end. And then it draws back in. And we seem to be getting more hand-like, like it almost looks like hands. It depends which way you go. I mean, they look like hands as well, but we're webbed. So when you see it there, it's almost like that's a wave, and then all the water comes out, then there's another wave, and water comes out, and then there's another wave, in that sense. And the other sense, does it? I'll turn it. If I turn it like that way, then the waves going that way, moving that way. or that way, It's just like, it's the different direction. It's either moving in the direction the finger's pointing or the sides of that aspect. So then that's another reason why you get your hinges. Because it's like, as a wave travels along, sometimes, like, the shore could be it might be less deep in this area than this area. So as the wave comes over, then, it's kind of like got more either on left side or right side, it depends. So, you know, one side will lose drag and then like it can break, which gives you a hinge. More examples of this. So it splashes out and it leaves the beads, you know, like the snail's eyes. So it's in that same relationship with the water. So like the previous video, I'm showing you all the water splashing in the foamy parts and stuff, and it kind of like, because it's small, it's kind of like making all these stringy, you know, like the previous photos I've shown you in this video as well. It's easy to see the beads on the last one. Frogs have opposable thumbs as well. Being webbed. Your hinges, your bead, your webbing or lines coming back. Just like it does on beach. It's got lines and patterns, so you've got froth in there as well. It's all drawing back. And leopard kind of patterns. Is it tree frogs? Is it a tree frog? Is it a flying frog? I don't know. Anyway, the ability to stick to things. Like we were talking about grip. And this is another aspect. So like when it's falling through air, water, it splits and separates into its own beads and becomes rain. But before it does that, it separates and creates like these umbrella shapes, and then the air pushes through the weaker parts. What's wrong with my phone now? It pushes through weaker parts and then separates it all. But before that happens, it gets to cup air, and the water can feel it. Even if it's only for a moment, it can feel it. And at that moment, it can, like, you know, it can experience what the sensation or necessities for flying is. And in this case, this amount of weight can be supported by 4 of these. Well, not supported, but, you know, it can help it glide down safely. So like in geckos, lizards, and other things which can like stick to walls and you know, climbing abilities and hang upside down and such. So like your fingerprint, and we spoke about like the I'll get the picture. Yeah, these. So as the water's been in, the waves have created these patterns which were like grip, you know what I mean, for like, I mean, it's creating a texture all along, so like all the waves would be able to use that grip and make itself like stronger and move over it faster, like wearing spiked shoes in a way, but the opposite way around. It's like having spiked ground, you know what I mean, so you could run faster. It wouldn't really work for us that way, but but in this sense, as water's gone back out, right, you've got all this water trapped. So that's like in that sense of grip, you know, it's like it'll maintain itself there. So with these patterns, it knows it can do that. It can, you know, how it's figured it out to like, because this is it prevents it from falling that way. It's not stuck to a ceiling, is it? You know, but somehow water has been able to use its intelligence to like turn it into something where a creature can literally hang on a ceiling. Beads of water can stick to a ceiling. Just beads though, not much. An ice can as well. You get big icicles, can't you? But still, that's different. I like heart shapes as well. And it's only a reflection. And so just one side is like tear shapes. And you mix them together and you get your yin yang. This is for another one. Right, you can see wave on tail and the shape. So there's a photographer that takes pictures of droplets of water, which are really good. So it's like you see these images and you appropriate what we're saying about light and water and the information being shared. So from the most simplest of shapes that it finds, it's uncomplicated. It's only a drop of water and then it splashes back up. It might be 2 drops of water, this one. So one landing on top of another one. And these shapes come. And so we can see like where the idea of a shape for mushrooms came from. And we associate mushrooms with the brain, That's like, it's the female to the male, like the trees were the male, they were the masculine because they grow strong, all these kind of things. They're quite functional, they feed, you know what I mean, and stuff like, produce fruit and all that kind of stuff. So it's producing food, providing in that kind of sense. Whereas the feminine, the mushroom, the yin to the yang of the trees, is it's like the nurturer of the trees. It's the mystical in many senses. It's the intelligence. It's the knowing what the trees need and the environment in that kind of sense and stuff. But essentially, it's that brain aspect of it. So, it's like the more of the right side of the brain. The trees are more of the left. So, and they're both got qualities of each. But I see the mushroom as like reaching deeper into the right side of the brain. So you got the mystical side of things. So you got your magic mushrooms and psilocybin, all these kind of things and stuff. So for body, the mushroom is connected to the brain, whereas the tree is much more like the structure of the body. You got your bones and your flesh and all that kind of stuff. Your muscle, all that kind of thing, and strength to walk and all that kind of thing. But the mushroom, it'd be like the brain and the networking inside your body of how that sends all the signals everywhere. That's the intelligence of it all, There's so much of it. So it's like, and the water does this shape, and the light kind of takes it all in. It just repeats that information. So, see why mushrooms turn up in that way. And the spores that come off them. So it's like learn everything. So like, but it's very like a mushroom in that way. Like the chakra above the flower, like in fairy culture. You can see it's almost like turning into a person, like shoulders, or arms. Obviously, it's just the dome part of a cup, and then all the water splashing off at the edges. One looks like a flower. It's split. So it's made a little cap, and then that's like the skirt of the mushroom. So you're getting your different levels in a sense. Like it could be more. Like it could turn into a person in that way. That's how the limbs come out. Obviously the head and I don't know, it's got quite a lot in there and stuff, but and that's the last picture. So I'm going to decide. I think this is going to be the last of the Waves of Light, and then I'll get on with the next series, which will be called Waves of Enlightenment, and see where all this series has taken us. So thank you for watching, and I'll get on with the next one. Cheers.